What is that? That is, who made this? I'm not gonna be able to sleep. That's it.
Okay, so I definitely see Freddy's mouth chin area.
The bottom of the face has to be Freddy.
Rasmussen.
That's definitely Freddy.
We've got Freddie Rasmussen's nose and mouth.
Frederick.
And that's Freddie Rasmussen's nose, mouth and bottom of the ears.
The middle of the face, it's me, because my nose is not really straight. That's why I love spa, little orange there. The hairstyle, it's Lucas Blakely, I think.
Lucas in the top of the head. Danny Beresney, the eyes.
I think that's Beresney, and the hair.
Danny Bresney's eyes.
That's Danny Beresney's eyes.
Is it Lucas's hair?
That's my forehead in all its glory.
No.
Danny, and the top one. Oh my God, this is so hard. Lucas Blakely. Oh my God, I'm so good.
That's Freddie and Danny Beresney.
Freddie Rasmussen, Danny Beresney, and Lucas Blakely.
Oh, there's another driver. Ah, it's the top one. Is it that not Max on top?
Oh, Blakely.
Ah, that is Lucas Blakely on top. Similar haircut to Max, actually.
I think Danny's nose and his eyes in the middle. And I think that could be Lucas's hair, if I'm not wrong. Right? Oh my God, I nailed that one. That actually just looks like Danny.
Here we are back again for Formula One Sim Racing World Championship 2025. If you're joining us, where have you been? Well, we've had event 1, 4 incredible races, 4 different winners, and we come to event 2 where we've already had quali earlier on today, a very wet Silverstone. It was indeed, but the return of form for Freddie Rasmussen as he starts on pole. Can he turn that into a victory? We will have to wait and see, but let's kickstart tonight with something we've not done before. This is Getting to Know You with Ferrari.
Who's more likely to set the fastest lap in a race?
Wait, actually, I can see why you would say John, because he's at the back of the grid, so he fits.
Have the best reaction time at the start?
Yes. He's always having good.
Good start. Really have a good start there, yeah.
Take the wrong pit strategy and still win.
It's definitely not me. And it's definitely not you, because if you won the wrong pit strategy, you just lose your head.
Should we go with Nico?
Celebrate a win the loudest. Blame lag for a mistake.
Yes, yes.
That is like, I can think of any excuse.
Give helpful advice to teammates.
John!
No.
John. I think I cooked that one with this event at least.
It's definitely not him.
Sleep in on a race day.
I've already done it.
Neglect to practice before a big race.
It already happened.
I don't neglect, I just don't feel like it.
It's a brand new feature, and I've managed to get the name wrong already. Who's more likely to? Expertly done, the voiceover from Matt Gallagher, who will be joining us tonight for the race. Alex Jakes, F1 commentator.
Hi.
And lovely to have you both here. We're joined by a very excited guest to join us on this video, as you can tell. Ben Gotti, sports manager for Ferrari. First of all, this is a perfect opportunity to get to know the Ferrari team a little bit better. We saw them there, Barry, John, and of course, Nicholas. They seem to be a great bunch. Good fun to work with?
Yeah. No, there's never a dull moment with those three. No, they're such great friends as well. So it's always a lively environment with those three. And yeah, I mean, they work very hard as well, of course. So yeah, great team environment on the whole.
Okay, well, we're getting to know you a little bit better and the guys, the drivers, because that's what people want to know. They want to get to know the drivers. They've had such a great rapport, a camaraderie when results aren't going their way, and it hasn't been for Ferrari in Event 1. We've seen that, a return to form with Barry getting the win in Bahrain, but they seem to G each other up. They have each other's back the whole time, don't they, Ben?
It's just so important to have that team dynamic, that culture where you bring each other up, and you know, if anyone's struggling, then you support them on the way down. But well, not on the way down, but you know what I mean. Yeah, no, as I say, we all get on so well, and we've all got the same ambition, and that's, you know, ultimately what happened at Event 1 was not what we're here to do. But you know, we know that we've got the pace, we've set things in place to get things back on track, and you know, as much as qualifying there probably wasn't quite what we want it to be just yet, but we're confident that things will start turning sooner than later.
Give us a little bit of an insight into, obviously, Event 1 didn't go the way that you wanted. Sort of resetting after that, were your expectations going into Event 1, we're going to be right there, we're going to be right in the mix, we're going to compete, and it was a bit of a shock when everybody else came out the blocks?
It's a difficult balancing act, I think, because I think naturally, you know, as champions last year, the expectations are high, but we know that effectively everything resets every year, especially in esports. So we're probably a little bit less competitive than we expected, but you know, we're perfectly aware of how strong the competition is, and it just shows you have to really earn your success here.
Tell us about the process after an event doesn't go entirely how you want. You still won in Event 1, but when it doesn't go entirely to plan, you have a bit of a roller coaster event. What's the process like building to the second event?
I mean, I think firstly it's important to kind of recognise that, you know, we did still win, and there were things that were successes in that. But really, there's a lot of stripping things down, and you know, opening up our thinking if there's anything that we've missed, and just really fully resetting, and then as any great F1 team does, just leaving no stone unturned and just going for it, really. There's not really enough time to waste, really, between these events. It's kind of full steam ahead, and yeah, as I say, I think things have gone better for us in the break between Event 1 and 2, and hopefully we get to show that in a few more races this time.
I'm curious to know, Ben, because we see an array just past the drivers, a whole engineering section, a whole management section. I'm curious to know your title and what your actual involvement is in the team, so that people at home can sort of go, oh, that's the effect he's having, or things that you can tinker with. Yeah,
so, I mean, as sporting manager, I mean, effectively, while we're here and on the desk, it's obviously race engineering, supporting the drivers in race with as much information as we can, and executing our strategy as best we can. But you know, day to day as well, there's a lot of optimization of our training programs. Yeah, just all areas of performance, really, is kind of anything that the drivers can't do whilst obviously where they're training, whilst they're on track. They need support if they're going to find that last thousandth that makes the difference. So that's what we're here to do, and it's yeah.
Well, listen, thank you so much for sharing that with them, and all the best for the race at Silverstone. And now it does mention here, Danny Bresney is a brilliant singer. I've heard that you're a pretty good karaoke singer as well. But, okay, there you go. Ben Gotti there from Ferrari. I'll tell you what, why don't we hear from Barry Broumand a little bit more?
Yeah, I had a really tough start. The first race, obviously Australia, we were a little bit wrong side of the strategy, unfortunately.
Edu looking for the move, Barry Broumand
Broumand trying to power past Barry Broumand in the Ferrari, trying to stay on the front foot. It's getting frantic right now.
And then in China, there was people towing each other in qualifying, which really costed us. And you know, basically when the grid is super close, it's really hard to gain position.
At the back of the field, Barry Broumand, who had a really tough qualifying, finding himself in 20th.
And then in Bahrain, it really clicked.
Take a look at this then, Broumand to the outside.
Are you ready for a late send? Because it's going to be nothing but dive bomb moves.
And yeah, we got the win. So in my brain, I was like, yeah, fresh start. Let's carry this momentum.
He's hyped up and shouting for joy.
And then unfortunately in Jeddah, I think we made a mistake as a driving-wise and also as a setup.
I don't think it could get worse for Ferrari. They're 19th and 20th. They haven't gone forward at the start of the race.
The setup isn't there. This is borderline unprecedented for two proven race winners.
It wasn't the best event for us, and as a driver, obviously, it wasn't really the best, but in my opinion, you know, these things happen in career.
The Ferraris, man, they're just continuing on, because what else is there really to do?
And the only thing you can do after that is just to analyze it and come back from it. We are representing Ferrari, and you know, we want to win. We don't want to even finish P2 or P3, and obviously that first event wasn't really ideal for us. But then we analyzed it quite well. We worked hard for this event. We can bring it back and get back to the championship. We are way more prepared compared to event 1, and we're just going to do our best. I am sure and super confident if we can be our best version, it should be more than enough to even get pole and win basically every race.
I suppose that's all you can do, is try and do your best. And that preparation that we heard from Ben, and I liked Ben, the fact that I asked if there was a difficult question, just say no comment. And it came to the karaoke one that really set him off there. But they've done their preparation. Now they just have to be just relying on those drivers to do what they set out to do.
Well, I think he could see in your eyes that you might have asked him for a bit of a ballad.
Sure.
If he'd given a fuller answer to that. Given how competitive it is this year, you're always going to have a tough day, a tough event. It's the response. The response is key. And he seems encouraged that they've made some breakthroughs. We've obviously had a rain-affected qualifying session there, so maybe not the total competitive order, but it's about bouncing back. That defines whether you're going to be a contender for the title.
Yeah, and it definitely shows the character of the drivers, which we will see as they get locked in, ready to go. Let's have a look at Silverstone, and that is where we are racing for round 5, gentlemen. And a lot of fun on this track, Matt. Looking forward to it, because quali had a bit of everything, didn't it?
It certainly did. It was a brilliant qualifying session. It was different to what we've had so far this year. We had a brilliantly evolving Q3, which in the end, Freddie Rasmussen on pole position. Of course, Otis Lawrence had those problems, as we mentioned, with those the soft gamble at the end. He did actually pick up a 3-place penalty, which is also worth mentioning, after some dangerous rejoining. But as you can see on screen right now, previous winners and previous podiums gone by, and that is supposed to say Jarno Opmeer, I can promise you.
Jarno Opmeer, haven't seen
Opmeer is not someone I've met before.
Digging out the graphics department.
Oh, come on, we're all one big team.
Matt's going to have to flee the building.
But what's interesting there is Jarno Opmeer obviously finishing first last year, but just that standard that these guys know the track inside out. Freddie Rasmussen needed an incredible return to form, and it happened by getting it on pole in what was, as you pointed out, Matt, a topsy-turvy quali where you had to be on your best and you had to be able to adapt to any given moment. Freddie Rasmussen's, he's got that pedigree. He might be winning 3 times at Silverstone tonight.
You can't rule it out. I mean, he's always so, no matter what version of the game we have, he's always found himself at the front. So his consistency is ridiculous. Just got away from him the first event as he was quipping. Doubled his points tally, hasn't he? So, yeah, he knows how to win around here, and he starts as the hot favourite.
Yeah. What about Jarno Opmeer? He actually stated, Matt, that this has been a horrible event 1 for him, and yet he's still second in the Drivers' Championship. How much, as a driver like Jarno, with the ability he has, if he says it's been horrible and yet it's in, how worried should other drivers be that he's not quite at his top game yet?
well, he's never satisfied, let's put it that way. And that's the mark of a champion. And that's the reason why he has been a champion. I think that to call it horrible, well, to be fair, we wouldn't be able to broadcast what Freddie Rasmussen would probably call his season then if, I think Jarno Opmeer has 57 points. So Opmeer's in the hunt for the championship, and that's not something that we've said in the last few years, and he's always seemed to kind of fall away in qualifying, had problems there, but he's managed to pick that game up a little bit so far this year. He's been in the hunt. Of course, we had that amazing side-by-side battle in Saudi at the end of event 1 with some incredible commentary. I have to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's going on? You're being nice.
Yeah.
Nice. There's going to be lots more of being nice. However, the championship leader, Ismail Fassi, starts in P15. Ben Hawkins from Williams is with Claire Cottingham right now.
Ben Hawkins, of course, the team principal at Williams. It's safe to say, I think at this point, it's been a bit of a tricky day for, especially firstly, let's start with the championship leader, Ismail Fassi. Had such a strong weekend last time out. This time, come in and starting P15. That's tricky, isn't it, at this point?
Yeah, it's not optimal. I'll be completely transparent with you. It was on us. So there was a very small window of when there was going to be a drying track. We miscalculated when the drying line would be there, and therefore we have to suffer the consequences. But we're confident. We know the pace is there. We believe we're quicker than some of the cars in front of us, and yeah, we're very confident going into the race.
When did you kind of work out that this was maybe going to be an issue? Was Ismail on the radio saying that he was going to be struggling going out, or was it quite clear once you realised the rain and the drying?
Yeah, I think it was clear for both drivers, not just Ismail. But we're in a sport of fine margins. You get a very small window, and we were just too late to that. And by that point, there wasn't much we could do. So the message from me has been, let's draw a line under it. We are where we are, and we need to focus on what we can control, which is what we're going to do in the race. And yeah, we've just had a great strategy meeting. We actually had Tope, one of our development drivers, with us, and he lifted the mood after my sort of serious tones. And yeah, the vibes are really good in camp.
You tell us anything about your meeting?
No, I knew you were going to ask a question like that. I've kind of led myself into that one. All I can tell you is we ended with lots of smiles, obviously a vamos, and yeah, we're just looking forward to the race.
Did you think at this point in the championship that you would be leading the Drivers' Championship with Ismail? We know he was so strong last time out, but did you really think that coming into the next round, the second round of this event, that you would be leading?
Yeah, when we first started working with Ismail, we knew we had something special. We knew that we were the right environment for him. We've been working with Ismail for a while now, and as a whole team, we knew we were building towards something. We keep referring to the 18 months, which is what we believe it takes to kind of transform a culture and create a leading team. So we were expecting big things. I think, I'd be lying if I said we expected to be P1 in the drivers and P2 in the teams coming into this, but we knew that we were going to bring a strong package to this.
How much do you think you brought as well, though? Because, like you say, you had this time scale to kind of change the culture of how you felt Williams was going. And now it's such a positive place to be, especially in leading the championship. How much do you kind of put down as yourself and Jake, the manager, as well?
Yeah, I think it'd be wrong of me to put any of it down to myself. I think one thing I could say is the framework in which I've put in place. But it's Alex, Domi, loads of the guys that you don't get to see. What I came in, coming from football, was I know what it takes to build a multidisciplinary team, and wanted to just bring in the right experts to let them cook, as they say. And yeah, my job from that respect is quite easy. It was just building a team which took this amount of time. But yeah, it's all on the guys.
Okay, you've got lots of important data to do. I know I pulled you away from it, so good luck for the race. Let's see how they do.
Thank you, Claire. Let's enjoy.
Thank you very much, Ben. A little bit back to there from Ben Hawkins. I love it when an English-speaking person says "vamos." There's nothing that gets me more fired up for the race moment. But they know what they have to do. Miscalculations haven't gone their way for the Williams team. Ismail Fassi starts in P15 and then Alvaro Corenton in 14th. But let's remember how good event 1 was for them. 3 pole positions for Ismail and a first ever win for Williams. So whatever happens in this event, they've already smashed previous records.
This is the thing, though, that you set a new standard and then you expect that standard week in, week out. So a little bit of back down to earth in qualifying, but they said it was an operational call, going for the wrong moment on track in the run plan, but there's a lot of confidence there, and I like the answers.
Yeah, Ben Hawkins, it's good to have a team manager that's very confident in what they're doing, especially when they're able to articulate the plan and not give away too much. You were seeing Claire Cotting was asking the difficult questions there, and Ben was moving around them. What was discussed? I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to answer that.
He's born to be in this Formula One world, for sure. He was crafting everything beautifully. But you need someone like that. You need someone that's able to be stand in front and sort of represent the team and answer in those kind of ways. And clearly, whatever they've put in place in these foundations of the team has worked incredibly well. I think, as much as they've got their first win and things like that, the expectation, the benchmark changes completely. We're all talking about them now, right? So they can't just now slip back to being knocked out in Q2 and things like that. They've got to go for the championship.
All right, P15, P14, they will start the two Williams drivers. Let's have a look at a head-to-head right now with Nicolas Longuet and Jarno Opmeer.
I'm interested in what's going to happen here. Jarno Opmeer is going to get past Nicolas Longuet. Surely, he's on the much better tyres. He's heading down now into the Wellington Straight. We'll have DRS open. We'll pull over to the inside line. Danny Beresde will hold it on the right-hand side. They're going 3 wide. Jarno Opmeer on the inside. Nicolas Longuet right around outside of both of them. Jarno Opmeer, though, outside through Luffield. Can he pull it off? Can he hold it? Yes, he can.
How am I going to beat Nicolas Longuet in Silverstone? I'm going to do the exact same as last year. So easy one there. Even if I had an advantage somewhere on track, I wouldn't say it right here. But it's different year per year because the F1 game changes a lot. Over the past few years, Nicolas has been really good on Silverstone in qualifying, to be honest, whereas I've massively struggled. Averagely my worst qualifying track, but then I got pole position last year. So yeah, it changed a lot year on year.
Jarno is always going for the overcut strategy. Not always, but plenty of the time he likes to have the better tyre at the end.
Out to Maggots and Beckett, the section that has certainly delivered him plenty on soft tyres. Longuet though with the DRS, he's got the energy available, he's not even using it until a little blink of it until now as they go wheel to wheel heading through snow. They'll stay wheel to wheel. Jarno Opmeer trying to defend relentlessly. He's got the tyres, he's got the grip.
I guess most of the time he's going for a riskier strategy and going for the bigger result. For example, last year I went for a more safe strategy to get the points that we needed, so he caught me with much fresher tyres in the end, so it was very hard to fight with him.
Longuet getting close on the entrance to Stowe Corner, both of them using all their energy. Longuet's got one only chance left to go, and that is failing club, but Opmeer comes in off, and indeed, the two-time champion rises once again. He takes victory. Nicolas Longuet finishes second.
I think if I do the same strategy as him, I'm confident that I am faster than him and pass him in the race.
It takes me right back to last year. George Morgan and Hayden Gullis on this very desk, replaced by Alex Jakes and Matt Gallagher this year. And we saw how energetic and exciting that race was. I'm expecting exactly the same again today. And what I also love is that tasty friction between those two drivers. As Jarno said, easy one there. Just going to do what I did last year. I like that fighting talk between the two drivers, Alex.
Yeah, nice and spicy. I'm a fan of that. It would be great to see Nicolas Longuet back in the position to fight for race wins. Brilliant performance here last year, but Jarno Opmeer, he loves that strategy, doesn't he? He loves pushing through fresher tyres at the end. That is home territory for him. And it's become an expectation that if he gets that opportunity, he will convert it.
What do you think of Jarno's chances in this race? Starting where he is on the grid, can he make his way up and potentially push for another win?
Well, he's made Q3, which is a tick box, and then you go, yes, Jarno Opmeer can win the race. As soon as he gets to Q3, there is an opportunity for sure. I think he starts P7. So yeah, he's definitely in the hunt. It's interesting how they were discussing the different types of strategy, right? Where Longuet was saying, well, I just went for the strategy to get me some really good points for the team's championship, whereas he kind of saw Jarno's strategy as a bit more risky, but can reap the rewards of potentially a victory. So the Jarno strategy is seen as more risky because he leaves it so late to then have that tyre delta at the end. But yeah, why more drivers don't do it is because it probably is quite risky and only certain can do it.
Yeah, and right now Ferrari need as many points as they possibly can to keep their constructors' title, surely. So the drivers have to kind of stick with team orders in some respect. And if Jarno wants to roll the dice, like we saw earlier with Otis Lawrence in quali, sometimes might not work out for the team as a whole.
There's a time for the drivers who are slightly further out of it to take those sort of gambles. Maybe maybe in the second race tomorrow, maybe in the final day of this event, if you're a long way behind, you're going to have to start thinking about where you can make the difference with a strategic call, with being maybe slightly edgier in wheel-to-wheel moves. For those contending at the front, including Jarno Opmeer, there's no need to do that. They're looking for consistency, they're looking for good points hauls, and every time he's finished a race this year, he's been inside the top 4. So he's just looking to continue that on. It's the others who have to come up with the goods today.
Yeah, Freddie Rasmussen sitting on pole. He's just got to keep his nose clean and take from pole to victory. Surely, Matt, here.
Yeah, a massive race for Rasmussen's confidence, I would say. As much as we'd never really hear too much from him and how he's feeling, he's human at the end of the day, and he's had, by his standards, a pretty dreadful start to this year. But that's not to say that he can't go on a serious run through this event to then perhaps not be in the championship hunt because he's quite far behind, but at least help Red Bull thrust themselves towards the top of the standings there, because that's where most of the money is and that's where a lot of the teams are focused on. So Freddie still has a role to play, and yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he lights the flags it and dominates.
What we love to do is put Freddie in front of a camera and say, Freddie, we want the best from you, and we've done just that.
And it looks like we're going to get some traditional British rain showers. Lucas Blakely crosses the line, having improved his lap time by a mile. He's got a 31.1. He's got provisional pole. Does anyone in the train, in the gaggle, have an answer? Danny Beresne does. Danny Beresne's gone to pole. Freddie Rasmussen, at a track that he loves so much, he takes it away.
Yeah, Q3 was wet. It was a one shot in the end. I crossed the line with like 2 seconds to go. So we got the timing right. And then I just had the most grip on my lap compared to everyone. And it was a good lap as well.
So yeah, crazy qualifying to start off event 2 here. Got through Q1 okay with both cars, and then Q2, the rain started falling immediately. And I think half the grid went out on inters, half the grid went out on dries. And then the conditions changed all the way throughout. It was always going to come down to the final run. The track was basically bone dry. My lap was nothing too crazy, just managed to hit the marks, didn't make any major massive mistakes, and it was good enough for P3, which I'll absolutely take going into the race later.
So hearing from the front row there, the two drivers, Freddie Rasmussen pointed out it was wet, which is good, and then Lucas Blakely. And I loved it, and I don't know if you guys noticed it as well, the smile, the sort of enthusiasm's back on Lucas, because event 1 did not go the way he wanted. He said it was a roller coaster, but there's a little bit of like energy back in Lucas, and Freddie's going to have to be on his A game today.
Yeah, I mean, Freddie Rasmussen's looking to restart his season. So's Lucas Blakely. You've got others around there thinking about the championship picture, but they're in one race at a time mode, both of them. Get yourself at the front. See if you can give yourself a chance to win the race in the final 3 laps. At minimum, they need podiums today, and then build it. Can you do the same again tomorrow? Can you do it? Can you get a run of points going? If you can, things can change very, very quickly. We're having an ultra-competitive year.
The yin and yang drivers there of Lucas Blakely, who is, sometimes you don't know if he's going to stop talking. And that is brilliant because you get so much of an insight. And Freddie is
not brilliant for you when they're counting you down.
No, in my ear, and I'm hearing we need to wrap up. But hey, listen, we've managed to cut out Marcel for the start of the show tonight.
Your editorial decisions are brutal, Deacon. I can't believe it. I personally love Marcel.
We will be hearing from Marcel Kiefer later on. I will highlight the fact he was a winner back in 2019. Can we talk tyre strategy going around Silverstone? Because Marcel is the king of looking at the tyre strategy. What are we looking at here, Matt? What do you reckon most of the drivers will be doing here?
Well, he's delivered it right there, as you can see. Medium size. Yeah, it's funny how he didn't want to be attributed to this, just in case it was wrong. So I'm glad that we've said his name 4 times for this. But it looks like, softs or mediums. Mediums being the preferential strategy, 2 of the 3 there. But this is the thing, right? We've had these predicted pit stop strategies, and then the likes of Mercedes have just thrown a complete curveball with Danny Beresne, for example, and done something completely different out of the realms of these predicted stop strategies, because it depends where you are in the field. So as much as that might well be the preferential, it sometimes isn't the best.
Yeah, adaptability. Are we going to see weather? I mean, is there a meteorologist? If I can say it, can someone get one? Matt, you even said.
Yeah, Matt's got his page. Here we go. There's Matt at work.
I don't know if it's going to load for you.
It's not loaded. We don't know.
They don't want to know yet.
We don't
want to know when the lights go out.
But that adaptability is what these drivers are going to have. And as Matt mentioned, Danny Beresney pulled the trigger in a previous race in Event 1.
Yeah.
And it seemed to work. So it's about those engineers, the whole team working together.
It seemed to set the tone for the entire event. As soon as he came into the pits, the whole thing just turned to scrambled egg. It was absolutely wild from that point on. There are drivers, because we had a wet qualifying, who are going to believe that in the dry, they can easily make places. So can you get a really good start? And then how aggressive are you going to go with the undercut? That's the big question. Are you going to try and get an immediate launch off the line on the soft tyre? Are you going to go long on the medium? There's options. Certainly thinking for this man here who's looking to bounce back after going for that tyre gamble. Hasn't worked out, but in the dry, he knows that he's going to be quick. He's going to be one of those pushing the strategy as far as it can go.
And he will have that 3-place grid penalty to contend with. Right, well, I will leave it with you, gentlemen. I'm going to go and find Marcel Kiefer and apologise.
Yeah.
Find out Ben
So you should.
karaoke
I love
song.
Marcel.
All right, okay. Gentlemen, enjoy Silverstone. Can't wait for
Always do. Thank you, Mr. Deacon. One of the great throws. Let's go racing at the British Grand Prix. It is one of the finest circuits anywhere on Earth. It is fast, it is flowing, it is Formula One's original World Championship round, and you're looking at the first turn. There's no braking into the first turn on the opening lap. That comes at turn number 3. Matt, this is a place, certainly in that first sector, where you can overtake, but we're really expecting a fast train of cars meters apart all the way through.
Absolutely. Don't get too excited, by the way, by that weather. That is not the weather for right now, just what we're using to show the starting grid.
And we've got Donoso at the back. He is next to Joni Tormala. Back row of the field, nothing for those two guys to lose. Brendan Lee, two-time champ, goes from 18th. And Zelda Rim has been one of our pole sitters this year, but he's only P17 on the grid today. Next up is Crozen. He's next to championship leader on the back foot for the first time in 2025. Ismail Fassi going from P15. Alvaro Caraton, his teammate, is next up in 14th. Next up, Josh Idu, who did get the tyre right for the conditions, but couldn't find a clean lap, and will start in 13th. And it's Alfie Butcher in 12th. Barry Borrament is in 11th position. Then it's Otis Lawrence, who is in 10th place. Thomas Gao in P9. Then it's Nicholas Longuet in 8th position. Jarno Opmeer, P7, the driver second in the points. And then you have Thomas Ronhaar in 6th. Jake Benham is in P5 for Mercedes. Tom Manley in 4th. And Lucas Blakely trying to start his season. He goes from P3 for McLaren. Danny Beresnay back on the front row and back on pole position to double his point score in 2025. It's Freddie Rasmussen, our reigning champion, and that grid was slightly out of date, so I just want to update you on the middle of the pack. Otis Lawrence got a 3-place penalty for impeding when he rejoined, having spun on those slick tyres. Josh Idu is in 12th, therefore, and then it's Butcher in 11th. Barry Borrament is in P10. And Matt, stirring moments. Here we go. We're about to run the 5th race of the year.
Oh, I'm ready for it, Alex. Sunny skies, it looks like, at least for the start of this race. So no chaos like we saw in qualifying. Looking around this incredible studio, the tension is building, and we can see the drivers just putting in their setups, getting their strategies, all aligned. Here we go.
So the drivers taking their positions, ready in their rigs, ready to run the 5th race of the year. 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights at Silverstone. And we're sim racing once again as we charge to turn number 1. Freddie Rasmussen with a good reaction time. Danny Beresnay with a better one. Danny Beresnay goes side by side. He's got the inside line. How brave are they feeling into turn number 3? First braking zone. Still they run wheel to wheel. Outside line becomes inside line. Who gives an inch? Will they race fairly? Danny Beresnay to P1. Freddie Rasmussen chucked from pole position down to second. Can Lucas Blakely do anything about it? Nicholas Longuet's got up to 6th position past Thomas Ronhaar, and it gets worse for Freddie. Lucas Blakely up to P2. Our pole sitter down to third.
Crucial start for Danny Beresnay and Lucas Blakely, both on the soft compound of tyre. Freddie in the Red Bull, deciding to start on the medium, so it's not the end of the world that he's third place at the moment. Benham behind on the softs as well. He's looking very eager indeed to get through on the Red Bull. Freddie slightly wide through Copse, but manages to hold P3 for now.
Playing the long game here, Freddie Rasmussen has gone for the more durable tyre. The problem is, how do you develop a rhythm when you've got cars swarming all over the back of you? And Jake Benham is next. One Mercedes in the lead, the second one trying to improve to the podium as we head down and we sweep into Stowe Corner for the first time, with Beresnay trying to return to the top step. The driver who led for so long in Australia, playing a team game for his teammate with an audacious strategy move, today has a legitimate chance to win. He went to the soft tyre first, and look at the advantage of traction the soft tyre's giving. Into Abbey we go, with Mercedes now 1 and 3. Jake Benham makes the move, and we have Freddie Rasmussen down to 4th place, but on the medium tyre. Nicolas Longuet, he is also on the soft, and then Rasmussen will stop coming under pressure from those who started on the soft tyre.
Rasmussen tried to defend from Jake Benham, but just couldn't. The soft tyres are absolutely lit up right now for grip, and there's that a Ferrari round the outside of Nicolas Longuet there. Now has the inside line, a little bit of a squirrel, and it's going to get very close between the two of them.
Oh my word, had to get out of it at Luffield, where you have to commit, and Rasmussen was fed up of losing track position. Those soft tyres, if you can get into a traction race, Matt, they're in another league. At this early stage, the 26-lap contest, they are in another league, and we saw that from the exit that Jake Benham had from Club Corner.
So it's an important part of the race now for Freddie, because fighting Longuet there has put him almost without DRS when it eventually becomes enabled. The top three are really trying to push away here, and this could be really important for the two Mercedes. The two Mercedes, again, up in 1st and 3rd. They're Constructors' Standings leaders at the moment, and they're again performing at the highest level.
Our championship leader, Ismail Fassi, in 16th position. He lost a place off the line. And everyone outside the top 10, according to our information, is on the medium tyre. Good couple of corners at the end of the lap for Jake Benham, and the British driver is trying to put pressure on Lucas Blakely. He had a strong final sector of the lap. So the question now becomes, Longuet looking for his best result of the year, which he would score with that 5th place if he stayed there, but his race crucial for Ferrari that he can clear Rasmussen, who's on the more durable medium tyre. Can he get by? It was aggressive stuff. Don't always see that from Freddie Rasmussen, but he had to shut the door at one point. You're looking at the top 3, Mercedes, then McLaren, then the second Mercedes.
For Longuet's race, he really needed to get through on Freddie and to join that front 3 train, because now you can see it's the second, it's skirting around that DRS level for Freddie, who will still be feeling fine. You know, the soft tyres, of course, are going to be quicker at this stage of the race, but even now, that ultra advantage that we saw is already fading away from those soft tyres, and Freddie's just starting to settle in now, 7/10 behind Jake Benham. So despite the top 3 trying to run away, Freddie's doing his utmost to try and stay with them.
It doesn't appear to be a massive gap, as you say. Might be at the front of the field. Change of lead. Lucas Blakely, after a really difficult race 1, takes the lead of the race, and after event 1 didn't go to plan, after he saw an opportunity slip through his fingers in Bahrain, other races he did not have the pace you would expect of a former champion, now hits the front of the field, maybe asked to do a bit of the legwork by Danny Beresnay, who drops down to 2nd place. Jake Benham is in 3rd, and McLaren lead at Silverstone thanks to Lucas Blakely. We're riding on board with him in the opening sector of the racetrack now.
You've got the 5 drivers out there on the soft tyres. You take them out of the equation in terms of this medium runners. You've got Rasmussen, then Manley, and then you have Thomas Ronhaar and Jarno Opmeer. So those will be the train that continue on once the softs fade and they decide to pit. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Both Mercedes on the same strategy with the softs, which means only one of them is going to get the absolute optimum strategy of pitting. They are line astern in 2nd and 3rd. But that seems to be their strategy this year, Mercedes. They just want to be in the mix. They just want to, in whatever way, it might not be on paper the best strategy, but they're there. Like with Danny Beresnay, we've seen it countless times already this season. They just want to be, they don't want to be messing around with 10th, 11th, 12th on the medium tyres, just settling into the race. They're right there.
Also, interesting dynamic I'm looking forward to later in the race. We saw Danny Brezne and Jake Benham go wheel to wheel, racing for position. Last time out in Jeddah, the team game will be played, but eventually the drivers can take things into their own hands. So Freddie Rasmussen losing some positions. He's on the medium tyre. The three ahead are on the soft. They will have to pit sooner rather than later. You can see those tyres. For a second you can see those tyres as everyone settles into a rhythm now. You get this at Silverstone. You get the train. You get the drivers settling into a rhythm and understanding that it's really going to be high-pressure stuff when it comes to the in-laps, the out-laps, getting everything right in the pit lane. And early stages of some of the races this year have been similar to this. I can tell you that the second half of all of the races this year have been manic. So stick with this one. A race currently being led by Lucas Blakely, a part of our champion roll call through the years for F1 sim racing. Blakely, then Berezne, then Benham, then really well placed at the moment Freddie Rasmussen, chasing his first podium finish of the year, chasing his first win of the year, chasing more than a 10th place finish in a race for the first time, and a wide moment there as that's got to be Alfie Butcher falling slightly wide, potentially over track limit at Copse Corner, might leave him a tad vulnerable to Otis Lawrence, who we're on board with. And Lawrence trying to recover from a qualifying gamble that didn't pay off. He was understandably upset with that, in 12th position, but on the medium tyre, was confident around this circuit. Matt, this is his favourite track.
It's his favourite track, but it's not his favourite position, that's for sure. Down in 12th at the moment, but just letting the race unfold at the moment, as you say. Stick with us. When you look at the gaps, the entire field are within DRS of each other, so it is going to unfold and it is going to change. Usually we'd say that in about lap 23 it would change, but in event 1 it was about the middle of the race. So I think once the strategy starts to unfold, that's when we start to see elbows being flown out. But yeah, we're taking a look at Otis Lawrence. This is going to be a key one for him. Can he salvage a 6th or a 7th? Because he just needs to score decent points if he wants to win the Drivers' Championship, which of course, as a driver, is your main goal. And that is very possible from that position. He just needs to be able to pick his moves wisely.
Last time around, Lucas Blakely, 29.9. Danny Berezne, 29.8. Jake Benham, 29.7. Fastest of the first 4. Freddie Rasmussen, 29.6. Is the medium tyre now the one to be on?
Well, if you want to keep reading them, 29.5 for Longay, 29.5 for Manley. So everyone behind is enjoying the medium tyres as well as DRS. So, of course, Lucas Blakely is leading this entire train as we head down the straight now. Danny Berezne getting very close, actually closing DRS there. Did you see that? Right at the end of the straight there. In fact, actually, it was a different shot that we were looking at. But Berezne closing DRS, so not wanting the lead right now, playing the long game.
Yeah, it certainly seemed that he gave up P1 way too easily for a driver of his standing. This appears to be a tactical play at this stage of the race. Let the McLaren punch a hole in the air, try and save as much as possible for the key moment of deployment for your in-lap, and hope that your Mercedes team, who've got a great track record so far this year, call the right strategy once again. Berezne, 2 podiums to start the season, a 9th place in Bahrain, and what was an incredibly aggressive race, and then that retirement. Big accident, controversial moment between him and Thomas Ronhaar. Ronhaar, who finds himself part of the train. Ronhaar on the medium tyre, currently P8 in the south.
So how's this going to unfold then? Freddie Rasmussen looking very ominous in P4, it has to be said. A driver that, in that position, you'd be unwise to bet against him. I think that Freddie around this track, as he's already proved a couple of times, winning round here. And he's looking very, very good in P4, as we'd have a look now. Very close to Jake Benham. This is where we start to see the crossover. This is where the mediums get a little bit quicker than the soft tyres, and Freddie wants to take back what he lost at the beginning. And he'll be fancying his chances to make easy pickings of Benham and Berezne ahead. Just depending how long they continue on into this race. When does the first driver blink? Is there going to be a driver in the middle of the pack that wants to go for something aggressive? There it is. Who is that? That's Thomas Gal, going in very early indeed for his first pit stop.
So Thomas Gal going Very, very aggressive.
Thank you, Gal. You know, I just had a theory and someone did it. Brilliant.
And he's gone for the Matt Gallagher plan.
Where's Gal?
Perfect. Let's find out whether it works. So that is hyper aggressive to come in on lap 8 of 26, but he thinks it's the right way. Because of the nature of the pit in, that's why he rose all those places up, because he's speed past everyone who's going into the Vale chicane. So that's why he climbed the order and then dropped down. So he pulls the trigger first and switches to the yellow walled medium tyre. The train continues to circulate through Brooklands into Luffield. The Woodcote corner used to be such an important part of the racetrack. Easy flat these days. Past the old pit straight, now used by Formula 3 and Formula 2, into the forever epic Cox corner. And then it just gets better and better. Maybe not in these conditions with heavy fuel in the car and the management stage of the race in progress, but the direction change is mighty at Maggots and then Beckett. Chapel completes it. You don't always hear Chapel mentioned, but it's the final part of the section. And then onto the Hangar Straight, which has always been part of every single version of Silverstone circuit through the years, and still on the Hangar Straight. Freddie Rasmussen effective everywhere else. He can't get by Jake Benham, but he won't have to get by as he manages now to find himself up to third position. And Jake Benham comes in for that stop, so he comes in to get rid of those soft tyres. Freddie Rasmussen into third place, and now he reclaims the positions as the soft tyre runners, Matt, have to come in.
Certainly do. Benham and Longay following each other in. Gal not really setting the timings alight on this undercut lap that he was on, and be interesting to see if he does get ahead of Benham and Longay, because he wasn't too far away when he did pit, and he was looking for track position, I'm sure, over the other soft runners. We'll keep an eye on that timing screen as it gets very, very close indeed, as you can see. And does Gal get through on the timing? No, just behind Longay then, as you can see on the timing tower, which leaves two, Blakely and Beresnay. Do they blink now? You would think so, but then also try and extend this soft stint for as long as possible, because at the end of the day you're going to be hurting towards the end of this race, and if you're still first and second, they might well be discussing extending it a lap or two until Freddie starts to come through, because surely that makes the most sense.
Yeah, Benham ahead of Longay, ahead of Gal. Not, as you say, Matt, an electric undercut pace that we have seen at other circuits. Blakely continues to lead Beresnay out on track. Two soft tyre runners out there. Everyone else either changed to the mediums, that's Benham, Longay and Gal, or started the race on the mediums. And into the pits comes Lucas Blakely, still extending out there is Danny Beresnay. So again, he's doing something different with the strategy. This time, it's going long. Can Blakely fire up the tyres as he leaves the pit lane? Will he leave the pit lane ahead of Jake Benham and Nicolas Longay?
Well, it makes sense for Mercedes to do this, because they're in the pound seats in the sense they have both drivers right in the mix. So they've taken Benham in, and they've done an early-ish stop with him on the medium tyres. Do something different with Danny. Even if he comes at the back of this train, Benham can play the team game here. He's through on Longay as well, as you can see on your timing screen. So Benham can control the pace, help his teammate come through. Could this be a masterstroke for Mercedes?
So Benham ahead of Longay and ahead of Lucas Blakely. Fine margins and going a few laps longer. Might pay him back later on, but Jake Benham has track position of those who started on the soft tyre and have come in for the medium. So very important. Driver who didn't start the season. They preferred Pookie in the car. Pookie backed up that performance, and now he is fighting for position. Change of lead out front though. Freddie Rasmussen has passed this man's teammate, and Freddie Rasmussen's medium tyres now the ones to be on. We're riding on board with Jake Benham, but our new race leader is Freddie Rasmussen.
Yeah, Danny Beresnay carrying on again. So he still wants to just stay with this medium pack and pit as late as possible off these soft tyres. It makes sense. This is the theory that I sort of mentioned of just trying to stick for as long as possible with this medium pack. And then you haven't actually got that much worse tyres than the pack that will be chasing you. So this is what Danny Beresnay's gone for. Jake Benham, as we say, leading that Group B pack of the soft tyre starters. Yeah, it makes sense for Danny Beresnay to do this at the moment. And we're just waiting to see who will be the first to blink from the medium runners that started.
Yeah, getting that access to the soft Pirelli rubber is going to be absolutely crucial. Just a reminder that Freddie Rasmussen has 2 points to his name so far this season, our reigning champion, in contention for major places throughout the races in race 1. Certainly Australia, he was right in the mix for the victory there. Didn't work out. Contact as well. Shuffled back in the pack. A driver who hasn't always started brilliantly in championships, but he's now come into Rasmussen country, where he's won before, where he's comfortable in the past, and this was the move to take the lead on board with our reigning champion.
Yeah, easy for Freddie Rasmussen there. And let's have a look and see if does Danny Berezne peel into the pits this time. He's still with the Red Bull. He's still with Freddie Rasmussen.
He does. I wondered whether he would stick with it as long as he could keep within DRS. If you give Freddie Rasmussen a buffer like that, he's going to be able to manage his pace to perfection. In comes Danny Berezne. Freddie Rasmussen now leads Tom Manley. And Manley is on the medium tyres. That's the old graphic from a lap ago on the left-hand side. So Danny Berezne, the last of the soft tyre starters to come in and pit. And then how much is he going to gain by running long for a couple of laps? Or is he going to be able to not use that tyre advantage, dropping to the back of those who have already stopped? And he comes past on pit exit at the moment. It's going to be close, but the pack is going past him. Those who have already started, and Berezne is going to have to fight his way past Gao, past Blakely, and past Longuet, as well as his teammate, currently P15.
He's not far away, though, and I think he's made that soft tyre work tremendously well, where it just essentially is a bit of an undercut on the medium pack. We've seen Joris Krozen go on to the soft tyres, by the looks of things, which is going to be an aggressive strategy from the Haas driver there in P20 at the moment. So let's see just how much longer the pack go until they jump on to the soft tyres. You'd imagine a few more laps before they do blink, but let's see. Freddie Rasmussen still leading the way. Tom Manley very quietly going about his business in P2 at the moment. He was thoroughly impressive in Event 1. Maybe didn't get that standout performance that he was hoping for and showed the potential to have, as we see a Ferrari dive into the pit lane. Barry Broumand indeed. So yeah, it's not been that many more laps and they're already coming into the pits.
So Berezne putting a great stint together, and this is further back in the pack. Jake Benham, the Mercedes that we're following, and Nicolas Longuet getting the charge on and getting past. So Barry Broumand in 14th, Nicolas Longuet in 15th, and Longuet cycles his way to the front of the queue for those who have stopped, going from the soft to the medium. He does so with a fast lap of the race so far.
Here we go then. The crossover is beginning. The soft tyres are being bolted on. Barry Broumand going for an aggressive one there. One of the first drivers to come into the pits and switch over to the soft tyres. Joris Krozen has got ahead of the Ferrari driver by doing that one lap undercut. So they're 3.2 seconds back off the medium tyre runners, but once again, they're going to be rapid now, but will that pace last to the end of the race, or will it be the mediums that have the advantage? This is what's going to unfold in this next 13 laps of this race. It's been simmering, hasn't it? But it is going to kick off. I'm very, very convinced of that. And we are now on board with Nicolas Longuet.
Yeah, Nicolas Longuet trying to play himself back into form. Couldn't believe how close it was in qualifying earlier on. The driver with just a personal best so far this year of 7th place. Certainly expected him to be in the top 10 of the championship when leaving, and further up the order. Big moments in the race. We're getting those coming in, pitting from the medium tyre in the pits. Freddie Rasmussen from the race lead. Big moments now as he moves on to the soft tyres. So lighter car as we move past the halfway stage, and he bolts on the soft tyres, comes into the pits along with Ronha and Tom Manley, and he will leave as the pack will stream by now. There you go, there's the moment. There's the strategies meeting in the middle, and Jake Benham back ahead of Nicolas Longuet, Lucas Blakely, Thomas Gao, Danny Berezne, and then the first man on the soft rubber. Can he make use of it in the sweet spot of the first 4 laps, where we saw at the start that rubber is devastatingly fast? Then it drops back and it'll be comparable. Crucial phase of the race.
So Barry Broumand with that one lap undercut on the softs, right behind Freddie Rasmussen now. That one lap will pay dividends for Freddie. He will be quicker over the course of the rest of this race compared to the two drivers behind that were very aggressive on the strategy of Broumand and Krozen. Manley's going to have to clear both of them, though, crucially. Manley was right behind Rasmussen and now has two cars in between them. As we now take a look at Jake Benham, who, as I say, will have a role to play to help Danny Berezne get into this fight as well. He's leading that train where he's currently P10 as more drivers filter into the pits. Otis Lawrence, I believe, being one of them. I know, in fact, it was Josh Edu and Alfie Butcher. As more action now down towards Stowe Corner as they just continue to change positions, but they're almost working in tandem. Right? It's like a peloton.
It is a peloton,
trying to help
isn't it?
each other.
Yeah, there's not been a really aggressive move into Stowe Corner that we've seen so far in the race. This is long game stuff, but Longuet knows that if they scrap with each other, the reason they're doing this is they scrap with each other, it's cooked, it's over, it's done. Because Freddie Rasmussen around Silverstone, great track record, two-time race winner around here for our reigning champion. If you give him an easy chance at converting the win, he will do it. And they know that, and they're working in tandem at the moment to not hold each other up as Rasmussen, with one lap on those soft tyres, tries to eat into Gal's advantage. He'll want to clear the Haas driver. Is there enough of a difference between the soft and 7, 3, 5, 6 lap old medium tyres? Those are the cars between him and the race win.
So take a look at Danny Berezne right now. Let's hear from him.
Make some moves, Danny.
Yep.
Time to make some moves.
Short, sweet, and a man in contention. Danny Berezne finding himself with that elongated soft tyre stint, able to take the tyres further than many others were able to do so. As we continue on with Longuet, Benham, Blakely, and Berezne working as one as it stands.
Oh, here we go.
But that is going to end because Danny Berezne's got a real opportunity. Danny Berezne has a fighting chance here. Fresher rubber from that long stint on the soft tyre, and now he knows he's got two cars between him and his teammate, and you wouldn't imagine the same type of contest as we saw in Jeddah. Late braking move. This is significant. The working together is over. This is for track position. When it turns into a traction race, will it be the fresher tyres of Berezne? Onto the Wellington Straight we go. And there's the difference. Under traction, position gained. It could be for a podium later on, could be for better later on. Thomas Gal can't do anything about Freddie Rasmussen, who's now up to the back of Lucas Blakely. Berezne and Rasmussen in the box seat.
It's pass or be passed at the moment. Lucas Blakely is finding himself under a lot of pressure right now. He's started to throw some defensive shapes, and this is exactly what he needs to do at this point. He's not on the best strategy as Lucas Blakely, despite starting up in third position. He's got the likes of Freddie Rasmussen, who's looking absolutely rapid at the moment, and we're riding on board with him right now. And look how close he gets just through Maggots and Beckett's, and Freddie Rasmussen surely is going to want to dispatch off this McLaren.
Still in the box seat with the tyres in that lovely 4-lap window where they are devastating up against the mediums of any age, let alone slightly older ones. And he is darting left, darting right. Is there the room? Always a driver that plays the percentages, under braking, can't make the move. Blakely knows who he's racing as the other Red Bull is in the pits. Jarno Opmeer has come into the pits along with Alvaro Caraton. Jake Benham takes the lead. Nicolas Longuet in second place. Danger Man, Danny Berezne in third. Important move on Lucas Blakely to put a car between him and the main threat for the race. Two-time winner around this circuit. Freddie Rasmussen trying to inch ahead, getting by. Freddie Rasmussen up to P4. He's making those soft tyres work.
We promised you action. Here it is. 9 laps to go. Freddie Rasmussen up to P4. He's got Benham, Longuet and Berezne ahead of him. It's going to be fascinating to watch. Jarno Opmeer stayed out so long. He's down in 16th at the moment, but with the freshest tyres of anybody on track. How much progress can Jarno Opmeer make in 9 laps? We've asked this question many times. We've almost written him off many times. But just watch how quickly he comes through from 16th.
Yeah, Ismail Fassi, championship leader, having a tough day. He's got the guy second in the points directly behind him. This is a massive day in the overall season for Blakely, for Rasmussen, and for Danny Berezne. Danny Berezne trying to bounce back after that enormous accident last time out. But you've got different strategies meeting in the middle here. Crozen goes past Thomas Gau. He is up to 9th position. Ron Haar is in 8th. Tom Manley in 7th. Barry Broumand on the soft tyre. It's going to be a driver to watch. He's played himself nicely into contention here. Jake Benham continues to lead. Nicholas Longuet, but Manley came in early. Danny Berezne versus Freddie Rasmussen could be the battle for the win.
Certainly could. I would put my money on Rasmussen in terms of the strategies currently, but Berezne has track position. He has his teammate ahead of him as well, but sadly for him, he's got Longuet in P2 to dispatch first, does Berezne, but he has the fresher tyres compared to the two ahead of him. Can Berezne make this a Mercedes 1-2?
This is a massive moment for Danny Berezne if he's going to return to the top step. Can't get close enough to Nicholas Longuet, who is confident on the brakes. Sometimes you go for the exit, sometimes you go for the entry. Not much between them. How early can you stand on the power in Luffield? Check the rear view mirror. There's the looming threat for the race victory. Freddie Rasmussen, Red Bull versus Mercedes to Cobb's Corner. You've got second place ahead, but these two are debating the win at the moment. Still they run line astern. If Freddie Rasmussen can turn it into a traction race, he's going to be by, and this is his closest threat for victory today. Danny Berezne with a long stint stayed with Rasmussen. Rasmussen, who started on the mediums, has switched to the softs, and Berezne did it the other way round. Can Berezne get by to give himself a chance to continue this as a contest? Longuet just loves this track. He's in contention once again at the front in Silverstone.
Yeah, Longuet.
Oh, late on the brakes. Rasmussen to the inside of Danny Berezne. He can't get there. He'll surely be shuffled off the road. We go on board, and it was getting tight between the two of them. But look at how effective the soft tyre is through this corner. No need to take the risk into Abbey. Is there a chance into Village? The third turn of this racetrack could be the defining turn of this racetrack. He's got a nose to the inside. If he can make it a traction race, if he can rely on the grip of his tyres, he will surely get by. But can he get by? To the Wellington straight we go. Freddie Rasmussen inching clear. He's going to be sent the long way round into Brooklands corner. Late on the brakes for Berezne, who stays ahead. Brilliant from these two. Brilliant from these two.
Unbelievable defensive driving from Danny Berezne. Did you watch and see how Nicholas Longuet drifted over to give Berezne slipstream? He wanted chaos between the two of them, and it's not over yet.
He's not going to go around the outside, surely. There isn't room, and there isn't room. I've only seen Charles Leclerc do that in real life. Ridiculous stuff. Rasmussen knows he's got the tyre advantage, but we've talked about that magic 4-lap window. Then it's not as clear-cut. Then it's defendable. That time is expiring for Freddie Rasmussen. Still in a brilliant position to win, but look at all this scrapping. Jake Benham trying to scamper clear. Nicholas Longuet coming back, and it's all action on board with Freddie Rasmussen trying to go around the outside line. To the inside at Vale, P3, and a massive move in the context of the race.
Such a crucial move, but look behind, 3 wide as we head towards turn 1.
It's manic, it's chaos, it's Barry Broumand versus Tom Manley, with Thomas Ron Haar in the mix as well. So many talented drivers fighting for all their worth here. And those on the softs are having the time of their life out there. They've got grip, they've got purchase, and they've got to fight through to the podium if they stay there. Freddie Rasmussen on the charge immediately. Crucial move made on Danny Berezne. It's older tyres ahead for Nicholas Longuet and Jake Benham.
Certainly is. Freddie Rasmussen just has to play this very measured, and he should have this victory, but they've not made it easy for him, have they? They really have not. Nicholas Longuet's trying to play a very clever game with the ERS as well. Look, Jake Benham's got a 7/10 gap at the moment. Longuet trying to charge up the defensive measures of his battery by the looks of things. Yeah, Benham still leads. Longuet second. Rasmussen looking like the favourite to win, but you can defend around here, as Berezne's shown.
Very interesting. Talking to Marcel Kiefer about how certain drivers race other drivers. Fascinating to see whether the wheel-to-wheel action will get intense in the final laps. On the evidence of this season, it certainly will.
Oh!
That's a big,
Manley!
big moment for Manley there. Loses out to Ronhart. Might lose out again. Crozen's got a wheel to the inside. He's off the road. Coming through Club Corner. Another opportunity for Brendan Lee. Brendan Lee diving to the inside, on board with Manley. This is absolute fine margin stuff. To the inside. Can Brendan Lee take the place? He's got momentarily ahead. Manley fights back and takes 8th position. It is scrappy stuff. If you look at the major places, it's a tactical game. Rasmussen's just got to bide his time, get his rival off the racing line. This is just a brawl.
It really is. I don't know where to look at next. Jarno Opmeer has only managed to get up to P12, worth mentioning, with all the chaos that's been ensuing ahead. Opmeer not making the progress that perhaps we have expected to see. Only 5 laps to go. Is he going to run out of laps before he can make up the positions he felt he would with that strategy?
Look at this. This is not lap 1. This is lap 21. Madness out there at the moment. So many. And so many drivers where a chain reaction, we know what we saw in Jeddah. I know that's a street circuit, but this year it feels like the aggression level has gone up. Crozen has a 3-second time penalty on our screens for multiple warnings. Sometimes that is not always applied at the end of the race. That's what we're seeing right now on our screens. Otis Lawrence battling with Brendan Lee. Aston Martin man has got up to 9th position, 0.2 of a second between 1st and 2nd. Freddie Rasmussen in the prime position if he can keep his soft tyres alive to the end.
Longuet's doing a fantastic job, it has to be said. He knows that if he stays in 2nd going into the last lap, he could definitely win the race, as we see another side-by-side a little bit further back into turn 1. But Longuet knows if he can just stay ahead, but that's easier said than done. But as this race progresses, Rasmussen's soft tyres are going to go away, but not yet, as they go side-by-side.
He's to the inside of the Ferrari man. Huge moment of brinkmanship is about to arrive at Brooklands. The Red Bull's got there. The Red Bull's got the place. There's nothing Longuet can do by way of response. And Freddie Rasmussen has picked his way through those who started on the soft. 1 car between him and a 3rd victory at Silverstone.
So 1 to go, and it's Jake Benham, the driver that was only selected for 1 race in Event 1. He was devastated to not be picked for more, as we now take a look once again, this time at his teammate, Danny Beresnay, right on the back of Nicolas Longuet into Maggots and Beckett. Jake Benham still leads, on for a great result. Beresnay now wants to get back onto the podium, and Longuet's looking like he's struggling on his tyres a little bit.
So Jake Benham continues to lead. Danny Beresnay all in for that podium finish. And the fresher tyres pay off. Medium versus medium, but here's a fresher. He is up now to a position to fight for this win. It's not done yet. Mercedes 1st, Mercedes 3rd. The Mercedes with the best tyre life in 3rd place. We've got another epic finish here. This is a season where nothing is going according to the script. Can Mercedes facilitate a win that looks for all the world like it belongs to Freddie Rasmussen?
It's game on now. The fact that the Mercedes are 1st and 3rd, they can try and play something clever here. With Beresnay, who is definitely going to be fancying his chances come the final lap on those medium tyres. As we take a look at Otis Lawrence, currently in the points in P8. Jarno Opmeer has just passed Manley for P9, so the progress is coming through now for the 2-time champ, up to P9. But yes, back towards the front. What's Beresnay going to do? How does Jake Benham try and facilitate a Beresnay win here? Because that's the only way I can see this working for them.
Mercedes will want that one too. They want maximum points. Can they find a way of denying Red Bull, of denying our reigning champion, Freddie Rasmussen? 0.2 of a second away. He's been really, really strong through Beckett and into Chapel. And we go on board with the driver 2nd in the race, started from pole. He's got a great opportunity now. Out of the slipstream he comes. The man who started P1 returns to 1st place in the race. Freddie Rasmussen. There's nothing that Benham could do. Rasmussen back out front. And unless there's an immediate response, he's on his way to victory at Silverstone.
So in my mind now, Benham and Beresnay swap, and they just try and cling on with Beresnay, perhaps DRS on the final lap. That's what I think Mercedes will make the call to do. It's lap 24 or 26, we've not got long left, but Beresnay's definitely in the better position in terms of the strategy. So that for me makes the most sense.
Interesting to see whether that will be the tactical call. Further back through the order, looking at some interesting battling through the field. Ismail Fassi, Tom Manley. Oh my word, it's close between Rasmussen and Jake Benham. They were wheel to wheel, side by side, into Brooklands corner. You didn't think that was going to be the case. It looked like it was done. Benham went all in there. Beresnay's now got the run. Surely this won't be a fight. There's no need to fight. And Mercedes do exactly what Matt suggested. Play the team game. Can Beresnay do more than pull alongside the Red Bull?
So I think that was Benham's only opportunity to not have to swap positions, was if he could get the lead back. He didn't manage that. But now Beresnay has a shot. He certainly does. He's 4 tenths behind, couple of laps to go, well within DRS. He's got enough energy. Beresnay's in a great position. It's not over yet.
Danny Beresnay, Freddie Rasmussen, names we've been saying a long time. Heroes of the esports and sim racing arena from the very start. Competitors all the way through. Danny Beresnay was a race winner, was fighting at the front for a long time, had a dip in form, fought his way back. Can he deny Rasmussen at a circuit that he adores and has won at time and time again? Looking for the three-peat today, looking for a third win around this circuit. And he is the reigning champion. He is the driver who leads by half a second. Not much when it comes to racing normally around Silverstone. Very, very impressive for this stage of the race. Penultimate lap of the race. If you'd offered Danny Beresnay this at the start, I think he would have been very, very interested in second place heading on to the 26th and final lap. We've got Jake Benham trying to hang on to third. He's racing a similar tired Nicholas Longue. Lucas Blakely on for his best finish of the year so far. In fact, it would be his first points of the season so far. Ron Haas trying to change that. Then it's Barry Borremand, Otis Lawrence, Jarno Opmeer, who has improved to the points. He's gone through a ton of cars in that late stop. Tom Manley's been shuffled down to 10th, and there'll be no points as it stands for Ismail Fassi. How close can Beresnay get? We're heading to the final lap in a few corners' time. We go through Stowe. This is Vale, Club Corner, and it will be lap 26 of 26. It will be 18 turns between Rasmussen and Beresnay and victory.
The decision's been made by Danny Beresnay. P2 into the final lap of this race. When does he decide to pounce? You can see on the onboard, he has 80% energy, enough to mount an attack throughout this entire final lap. Does he try it down this next straight? Does he do it into Stowe? We'll have to wait and see.
The Wellington Straight is next up. You're on board with Freddie Rasmussen. Danny Beresnay, 0.3 of a second, 0.2 of a second away, but not close enough. He wants the move, going through Stowe, into the Vale chicane on the last lap. That's the moment. Huge pressure on the Mercedes man to try and convert for his team. He's been brilliant in terms of strategy. He's getting ever closer. How much energy has he got? We can see how much he's got left in the tank. This is the view looking at third place right now.
He's close enough, Alex. He really is. He's got a great opportunity here, Danny Beresnay. Can he snatch the victory?
Danny Beresnay versus Freddie Rasmussen. You hear the DRS beep? This is the Hangar Straight, and Freddie Rasmussen is trying to break the toe. We're heading to Stowe Corner. To the inside he looks. Wide goes Rasmussen. It's not over yet. There's still a late braking move, but will there be the space of a car to get there? Rasmussen's scrapping, but he's off the racing line. It's been so close between the pair of them. The checkered flag waves, and over the line comes Freddie Rasmussen, who holds on and holds on to victory. The third win at Silverstone for the man returning to the top step. Our reigning champion is back. Freddie Rasmussen denies Danny Beresnay in a thriller. A cry of anguish from Danny Beresnay, but that was a story and a half. A great defensive drive. Those two from the front row putting on a show.
And breathe. And breathe. You wouldn't think the Mercedes boys had just popped in a second and a third by that camera shot, would you? But of course, Danny Beresnay so close to victory there. But you have to say, Freddie Rasmussen placed his car so beautifully in those last few corners. He saved his energy wisely, got the great exit out of Maggots and Beckett's. He had just enough bit of a squirm, didn't he, into Stowe? But he just made sure he had that nose ahead. He covered off the sort of dive bomb move.
Well, the dive bomb move is
looking.
the inside.
Yeah.
That's the inside. That's what everyone wants. That is super risky, though, because you've got to think of the team overall. If Beresnay gets that wrong, Benham's going to win. So it's so hard. Those two, great respect for each other, fought really, really well. That's on the absolute limit. But you could see a man who isn't the most demonstrative with his emotions. A tired arm in the air shows how much he had to work for that one. A great win in a great career.
That's the kind of racing we want to see. That was absolutely brilliant. It's funny how we spoke about the old guard versus the new guard. I think the old guard took it personally. And they said, well, we'll just get 1-2 in this one then. It was brilliant to watch. I think it sets up Event 2 so beautifully. And we look at drivers like Ismail Fassi, the championship leader coming into this, really struggling. He's writing the storyline for this championship fantastically. I'm glad he's not running away with it, otherwise wouldn't have as many things to talk about. But it's just brilliant. It's great to see Freddie Rasmussen, 1 point coming into Event 2, starts it off with a win. No better way.
Back in business, and important results for so many in the field. You just got a glimpse of Lucas Blakely. He's up and running, points on the board for 5th place. Nicholas Longuet, his best of the season so far as well with that P4. Jake Benham did incredibly well to box out Longuet, considering they had similar strategies. Beresnay doing brilliantly to extend that soft tyre stint, and Rasmussen, it looked for all the world like he had the race won, and then Beresnay in the box seat on the final lap, but couldn't find a way by. Go on, Tom Deacon, who joins us back at the desk. Go on, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Everyone's heard from us for the last however long.
Pictures have been taken of the final standings. Drivers getting out of their rigs. A few drivers throwing down the headsets. Others very congratulatory. And Freddie Rasmussen over there. He doesn't look like he's just won a race, but I think he expected that in Event 1 maybe. But that's the norm for him. But a return to form for him. And that race, like you said, gentlemen, didn't think it was going to get going, and then it really did towards the end. Danny Beresnay was so close to snatching that victory.
Yeah, I love a different type of win as well. You don't always want the person in second place to just auto-complete the move for the win. It's lovely to see a bit of defensive driving as well. You just want it to be on the line all the way to the end. And it was spectacular stuff from both of them. And yeah, that wiggle through Stowe corner, I thought it was Danny Beresnay's at that moment.
Oh, for sure. And we're looking at the Ferrari guys there, and of course Freddie Rasmussen, the winner. A better result for Ferrari. We spoke to them in the pre-show. 4th and 7th for Longuet and Broumand. They'll take that after a difficult qualifying session. So a bit better for the guys as well at Ferrari.
Yeah, interesting enough, Freddie had said not looking good for second in the championship this time, because he was always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And then in response, and you saw in the shot just there, is everyone loves a good comeback story. Chin up, champ, we believe in you. That was Laura Craig, one of the Red Bull team. And just that knowledge and understanding and belief that he will come back to get a victory. One driver who has had his best result just now, you did mention him there, was Jake Benham. His highest ever finish coming into this season was 4th in Austria. Well, he's just bagged himself a 3rd place podium. He's now with Claire Cottingham.
Very impressive performance, of course, from both you and your teammate, Jake. For yourself, though, you really wanted to get behind the wheel again, and you've proved yourself as quite the talent out there. A podium, you must be elated with that one.
Yeah, really happy. Just pretty much flawless race from my side and Danny's side, to be honest. Just nailed the pit laps, nailed the racecraft, and ultimately we came out with a double podium. It's a shame we couldn't get the win in the end, but obviously it was going to be very hard on this strategy with us both, with Freddie coming back through on faster, fresher tyres. So yeah, overall really, really happy. We extend our lead in the championship, and yeah, can't ask for too much more.
Yeah, leading the championship coming into this round, obviously still leading it with some very impressive points for both you and your teammate. Was there a chance that you thought maybe you could get the win?
Yeah, halfway through I was thinking, yeah, this is on. But obviously at the end of the day, you've got to play the team game, let Danny through, and because he's on fresher tyres, so he's got a better chance than me. And just come away with a podium, which obviously is still really good. And there's no saying that I would have won. It would have been even harder because I was on 2 laps older than Danny. So, end of the day, double podium. We aren't going to be disheartened with that.
Definitely can't be disheartened by that. Just a final one from me as well. How good did it feel to go out there and really show the team as well what you can do from this position and get some points to your name?
Yeah, I mean, I think people know, hopefully, that I can do it. And it's just about proving it now, and I think I'm slowly starting to prove it, which is the main thing. And yeah, overall, just a really clean battle as well, which is always fun and not taking each other out. And yeah, just overall really happy. Team result good, and extending the championship.
Of course they know it, Jake. That's why you're here. That's why you race for who you race for. I'm going to let you run off now because I'm going to have a chat to your teammate, Danny Bereshne. Danny, come on in. Wow. I mean, that was quite an impressive drive. And not only that, you made the defending look incredible out there. I don't even know where to start with you and Freddie. I can feel that you're maybe a little bit disappointed. You didn't get the win, but you have to be impressed by how well you defended.
Yeah, first of all, the race is amazing, and I want to thank you for my teammate that he did everything for me to help me win this race. And there comes the disappointment part in the interview, because obviously I'm really gutted. Based on our simulations, the medium tire was a little bit better in the last lap, so I was quite optimistic. Following out of Maggot Beckett's in the dirty air, only from 3/10 behind, but Freddie and the Red Bull had some amazing top speed, and I could only get halfway alongside. Could have maybe made a move further away to the inside of Cobbs, but with the curb there and with the nature of the corner, we saw what happened between the Red Bull and the Mercedes in 2021. I don't think that would have been a very safe option to do. And I chose to back out and attack back in the last few corners, but Freddie defended beautifully, braking very late, covering most of the track, and then preventing my switchback as well. So obviously I'm really gutted. I feel like with perfect execution I could have won that race, and I didn't win for a very long time. Meanwhile, Freddie even won the championship last year. So it's amazing to fight with guys like him, but it's not amazing to come out as the first loser.
That's not the way to look at it. You are still leading the Constructors' Championships, rather. That is an impressive place to be at this point within the championship.
Yes, obviously that's amazing, and I'm really proud of all our teamwork. And if we win a season without a win, then I would still obviously accept it. So this is not the most important, but certainly many points, especially if you consider the swing, that now he got 7 more, I got 7 less. That's not just 7 points, that's 14 in our fight. And based on last year's, Red Bull is probably one of our main rivals.
Well, definitely at this point, but consistency, like you say there, is really key. And we'll hear from Freddie Rasmussen in a moment. But you must be really proud of how you kept that clean racing as well alongside Freddie and managed to take second place with, no dramas.
Yes, well, I always try to race to the best of my abilities and keeping it fair, because I think this is the only way to earn respect from other drivers and get the racing from them, what I expect as well. And for me, this is the way for a consistent season and a sustainable career where I can go to sleep calmly. Maybe that's not the most winning mindset, but I'm pretty confident that if you are consistent, persistent and fast enough, you can win in a beautiful way in Esports.
Well, it's working for you at the moment. You're leading the Constructors' Championship. So we go again. Thank you so much for talking to us.
We go again. You heard it.
Incredible. Always a delight to hear from Danny Bereshne, and of course Jake Benham, his best ever finish in F1 sim racing. However, the man who's joined us at the desk is your reigning world champion, and he's just got another win, pole to victory. Last time that happened was in Jeddah last year. Freddie, how relieved are you to get some big points into this season?
Good. It's good. I'll get to keep my job.
I guess you're not going to explain too much, but was there some nerves coming into event 2 for you, Freddie?
There's always nerves, whether I'm in the lead, fighting for the championship, or a back marker. But I just do my best as always, and hope it works out.
Yeah, Alex, what impressed you about Freddie's race today?
Oh, there was so much. Mercedes just said their simulation said that the medium tyre was better to be on at the end. I'm guessing your simulation said that you wanted to be on the softs.
I don't know, honestly.
Was that the team's call? Was that your call? Did you want to be on the soft tyre at the end?
That's the team's call.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. You've made it. You've made it work. Tell us the emotions heading into that last lap, because we've seen so many times the autocomplete win from second place at the end into Stowe corner. You had a big moment into Stowe. At least it looked like that from the onboard we could see. How was that from your point of view?
So the last lap, I think I had a bit more top speed than Danny, but he had better tires because he pitted so late for the mediums. But there's a bit more dirty air this year, so I think it would have been hard for him to overtake.
Well, let's look back, as we can see now, to some of the action. You obviously remember this because it just happened now, Freddie. But for some of us, we didn't see this point of view. Talk us through some of these moments, and we're getting into lap 16 now, Freddie.
So this first one was easy because he had very old tires. I had a big tire advantage on Thomas Gall, I think it was. And this one was a bit of a dive bomb on Blakely. This one I can't remember. I don't think I make it here.
You remember it well then, because you clearly didn't get through. It was interesting, watching you. This was close as well. Were you trying to go around the outside? Or was it a little bit of a?
I was, but
yeah.
I didn't get any room. So
fair. Okay.
It didn't work out.
Was there any point where you thought this is taking a little bit too long to get through certain cars?
It was a lot harder to overtake than I thought. So I had to do some crazy moves, which I don't usually do.
Yeah.
I like to take it easy or take it safe. But now I have nothing to lose anyways. So yeah, I just had to.
And then these final few corners, we mentioned the last lap. Were you thinking precisely where you needed to put your car in order to stop Danny, firstly going up the inside, but also around the outside, because both are viable?
Yeah, usually I'm way too nice to other people on the track. I think Sebastian, my teammate, helped me out a lot after Australia. I lost a lot of positions there because I was way too nice. This time I was a bit more aggressive and make them uncomfortable.
Not nice, Freddie.
Yeah, not nice, Freddie.
Here we
No
go.
more Mr. Nice. I'm curious, while we've got you, Freddie, congratulations on getting that pole to victory. I'm curious to know your take, because you go back to that first win for you in F1 sim racing, and you've been there since day dot. 18 years old you were, 3 months and 22 days. It's been beaten by Otis Lawrence. I'm curious to know your thoughts on the young guns coming through. I mean, what do you notice about the drivers coming through? Is it something, do you feel like the old guard in some respects?
I feel very old these days, yeah. They have a lot of easier time adapting to the new games because there's like different laws of physics every year. They find it easier to adapt, I think. I grew up with a completely different game, iRacing, so I struggle a lot more with that, especially this year. This game is, interesting.
It is what it is, Freddie. Well paused on that. Yeah. Exceptional stuff. I'm curious to know, as everyone else will be, what did you do from event one? How did you reset? You have a fantastic team around you. You had comments from the likes of your teammates, Laura Craig, who said, we believe in you, chin up. What did you do? Did you practice harder? Did you, obviously, got more aggressive, no more Mr. Nice Freddie?
I didn't change anything, actually. I just did the same. Last event was very, very unlucky. I don't think, well, I made some mistakes too, but a lot of it was also bad luck. So I didn't change anything. I think my approach is good.
It's funny, we spoke as well, didn't we, about if you could craft 4 races to bounce back from an event, it was this one, and you've started it off with a victory.
These are Freddie's races.
Yeah.
Silverstone will next be going to Spa. You've won, there as well. You've won in Kota. And of course, you've won in Zandvoort. Has that been on your mind? Did you able to target these 4 races and go, yeah, I'm feeling even better now?
No, I think I just have the same approach as always. Just try to do my best.
Well, listen, congratulations, Freddie Rasmussen, your winner today around Silverstone. Someone we haven't heard from. I didn't cancel him earlier on. I just want that to be very clear. I'm a big fan of Marcel.
A lot of people saying a lot of things.
They can talk, but the reality is your former teammate has got a few things to bring us up to speed in. Marcel.
Welcome, guys, to my new kind of venue, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do, because I think it looks amazing. Big shout out to the team for making this possible. So, in case you're still watching, Freddie, yes, I have a few things to say. This race was amazing, first of all. Congratulations for this amazing victory. And he pretty much gave us all of the excitement that we needed to have a great look into what is actually going on and how you produce a race-winning performance in F1 sim racing. So first of all, we had the race start. Obviously, Freddie picked the medium compound with his team. It's difficult to get a good start off the line, and Bearsney took advantage of that, had the inline, turns to the outside, and Freddie just has to yield for the next corner. He's still trying to stick his nose in, but you can see there's not much he can do. Bearsney can just drive around here, and he still has to be careful of Blakely. He has the visual mirror on, and with that, Freddie still always keeps in touch with his peripheral vision, what is actually going on, and you can see he's actually trying to hold off Blakely, which he does, and for that moment he was still ahead. But we all know how it turned out in the next sequence of the race. So Freddie fell back a little bit, but there was no issue with that. He came back after the soft started to drop off and made a move on Danny Bearsney, which was important. The other guys already pitted, whilst Freddie and Bearsney, they still stayed out. Obviously, Bearsney went for the freshest compound, and there was another overtake from Rasmussen then when he actually made the pits on Blakely. We just had it where he said he was a bit more aggressive, and you could see that as well. You can see the aggressive flick in the steering from the right to the left to commit to it, and he actually pulls it off nicely. A little bit of contact, but you know, we're here for hard racing, so a great move by Freddie to get up into P4, and then we're looking at one of the greatest battles probably in this whole season. And I will just let it play, we are talking through it. So Freddie is trying to make a move on this massive train of cars, and he has the car with the freshest rubber ahead of himself, which is Bearsney. And we all know they fought until the end. He's still trying to make it work. It's so hard but fair. These two are probably, in my opinion, the cleanest racers on the grid, or at least one of the cleanest, and you can just see that here. So much respect. They're just banging wheels slightly, but they're not pushing each other off. It's amazing to watch, and they're still going side by side. Now we can see Longe knows Freddie is on fresher compound, so he's trying to give Bearsney a slipstream, but Freddie most likely had lower wings. You could sometimes see also here, even though he had fresher compounds, he was struggling a little bit in the corners. I guess Mercedes were running for a little bit of a different kind of setup with the car, probably a bit more downforce than the Red Bull guys, but Freddie didn't get loose. Longer trying to help him out again, but in the end, he just ran out of room here. I think maybe you could argue this was the only time where it was a bit over the limit, but for both drivers still, I think no bad thing intended there. And now we're lining up for the final battle of this amazing side-by-side action throughout a whole lap, leading up into Stowe. And Freddie is so far away at the moment, but he's closing in again. Bearsney running wide, then Freddie suddenly just gets back all the grip. And this time he learned from the last lap. He's not taking the inside, he's taking the outside, and beautiful move from Freddie up into P3, which will eventually turn out into the deciding moment where he also overtook Longe and Jake Benham. With Longe, it was up into turn 4 with a switchback, and they were going and going the whole straight. And then Freddie made sure he gets it done before Brooklands. The race lead against Jake Benham also. That was actually the easiest overtake, I would say, from Freddie. Not anything impressive, but you know, you still gotta do it. Gets past quite nicely. And we have the final ending between the Bearsney. He's trying to fight it. Freddie actually probably learned from the past. I overtook him as well here in this corner. This time he's braking way later. Committing, and he's also super smart car placement. We can see Bearsney's going for the outside because it looked like Freddie is going to commit to the inside, which he does, but he's just moving right before braking ever so slightly without squeezing him too much, just perfect room given. You can see he's not alongside, so Freddie just blocks him off nicely, but in a legal way, and gets the move done, and that's it. What an amazing race, honestly. Like, you can just applaud both of them for this great racing, and yeah, I think it's a great start to Event 2.
Thank you so much, Marcel. I didn't think he would take up the dare to dress like a checkered flag, but he smashed it today. Marcel Kiefer, I absolutely love his work, and a great addition to this year as well, to give that analysis. And I like the cheeky comment he made. He's like, oh, well, I overtook Freddie in this corner, so he's learnt from that. But to get that insight, it is fantastic, Matt, isn't it?
It is. I personally enjoyed him scrolling through all the highlights he had to pick the right one to show. But yeah, I love it. It's brilliant. Touchpads, touchscreen, whatever you want to call it. It's good analysis, and I'm glad to have Marcel here.
I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. Don't forget to follow us on F1 Esport across all of the socials to stay up to speed with everything. So, Alex, we just actually had Thomas Ronha come across and have a chat and said and asked us, how did you find that race, which we don't often get asked.
Nice to be asked.
Never been asked that ever.
Yeah. And we were talking to him as well. He was very much cautious with the overtakes. Compare that to Jeddah, maybe coming into event 2, learning things. And Danny Bresney and other drivers will be very happy with that in some respects. But if there's a gap, he's got to go for it.
Well, it's exactly what we spoke about, wasn't it? The fact that Ron Haar in event 1 was quite, overly aggressive. He made some mistakes, obviously Jeddah being the big highlight one. And the fact that he's like, because we asked, can we have some more dive bombs? No, I was being cautious.
Yeah.
So he's doing exactly what we sort of questioned. Yeah. But now from a spectator side, I want to see more dive bombs. So I kind of regret bringing it up.
Thomas Ronha cannot win around here. Qualified in the middle of nowhere, he said, finished in the middle of nowhere. But a P6, provisional results there. Can we focus on Lucas Blakely? No points coming into round 5, race to Silverstone at this point, which sounds, I can't fathom that in some respects. This is a former world champ. He's picked up some points, but didn't look happy towards the end as well. I noticed him get out of the rig, and he just didn't. He seemed a bit frustrated with what had happened. Started in P2.
Yeah, I think you would. I think to get the first points, fine for the year, important for the year. He's not interested in points. He's interested in podiums and wins. He's a former champion. So I think he's going to be frustrated until he gets back to the top step. That's my experience of most champion drivers. So I understand that, but a step forward today.
Yeah, a step forward, Matt. Interestingly enough, Ismail Fassi, obviously not in the points there. He's your current leader in the championship. And then you have behind him Jarno Opmeer, who didn't take that opportunity to gather more points than Ismail Fassi. And neither did Otis Lawrence. So it's really sort of kind of opened itself up in some way for this championship that the front runners weren't able to capitalise on that, but it's allowed Danny Berezny and Mercedes to just stack some points where it matters in a Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, I think me and Alex were just doing mental maths on the tablet that we have that hasn't updated after this race.
It didn't go very well for me. I hope it went better for you.
But no, it's
but two of you looking at it.
Yeah, like even the top 6 all didn't score massive points. And then you look at Danny Berezny being one of the ones that did in 7th. Then I don't know where he is now. I'm sure we'll see that. But it was an opportunity for one of these front runners to really take advantage, but they didn't. But I think that pretty much paints the picture of what this season is, which is unexpected, and we've got the likes of Freddie Rasmussen bouncing back from 1 point to where he is now.
And 5 different winners of 5 races. We love that. Lucas Blakely back in the points. He's with Claire Cottingham now.
Yeah, back in the points. How does that feel?
Yeah, glad to be back. The first event definitely didn't go the way we would have wanted it to, so to have at least a strong points finish, I guess, to kick the event off is always positive to get something on the board. And I genuinely don't think that there was really, I look at that race and I think I don't really see where we could have really gone much more. I think we got everything out of it. We know where we were limited. I feel like we were in probably a really good position after the pit stops to progress forward, but we just didn't have the fundamental speed to make that final little step forward. Because it's one thing following in the train, but to try and make moves forward in it is quite tricky, and we know where we went wrong on that one. But yeah, I know that I'm just happy because I know that I wrung the neck of it and I got away with it. So yeah, happy to finish 5th and finally get some points on the board.
Yeah, points very important at this point as well in the championship. You immediately, though, got out your rig and you were like, I am knackered. And I don't think I've ever seen you so tired after, only one qualifying session. I say only, I know it's quite physical for you guys. And Silverstone, I've seen you get out of rigs and you've been fine after 2 races. What kind of hit you with this one?
I think it was just a really intense race. I didn't have one lap where I could, just let it be easy. I mean, maybe in the first few laps when I was leading, it was, I could manage it the way I wanted. I think the first stint was probably the calmest part. And then anything after the pit stop, I was like every single lap having to think about my battery, thinking about who's coming through, what tyres they're on, how old they are, what battery have they got, you know, what should I let them go, should I fight them? There's a lot of things that are going through your mind, and you're trying to do all this while being, you know, absolutely perfect for every single corner. So it's a massive. It's just massive focus, massive adrenaline, and yeah, to be honest, I wanted naturally as a driver, you just want more. You know, I started third. Qualifying was you know, another decent qualifying along with Bahrain from the first event. So I was wanting to try and build on that momentum and maybe try and make up for what Bahrain wasn't. And yeah, we put ourselves in a good. I'm just proud of all the processes through the race, because I think we did all the right decisions and we maximised what we could. But yeah, ultimately there was just not enough speed in there to make ourselves a little bit forward. But that's all right. We know what it's not like we're completely lost and we're confused. I think we've got a very clear direction as a team that we're going to, you know, debrief on and understand how we got to that point and then how we're going to amend that going forward. So yeah, just happy to have, you know, got some points with the team. Really, that's that to me is just the best takeaway from it. I'm just happy that I got something this time. So yeah.
Yeah, and we're used to seeing you score points. Obviously, you've won a championship. It's a weird point to not see Lucas Blakely higher up in the championship at the moment. Does it feel a little bit like the monkey's off your back, at least with points? But where are you feeling in terms of how you're looking at how the championship's kind of riding out now?
Well, I mean, it does feel weird because I'm only doing this to fight for wins and championships. I have no other intention of doing anything else. So yeah, naturally, getting a P5 is, you know, it's not what I want. I want to win. It's that simple. So for me, it's about, you know, trying to reset, go again, understand where we can go better. You know, I know what I can do when all the things are put in the right place. So I'm, you know, still perfectly confident within myself in that regard. So it's yeah, I never lose sight of that. You know, no matter how challenging things get, because it can be this championship can be such an up and down experience. And I think I had, you know, quite a good few years where it was just steady, consistent, you know, good results every time. You know, making. I mean, I missed Q3 more times in that first event than I probably did in 3 years or 3 seasons. So it shows how quickly and intense this championship can be, and how quickly things can flip on its head. So, but that's what's good about it, is that's racing. It's unpredictable. We've seen. There's not been like a consistent trend in this championship. You know, it's been such a, you know, unpredictable season, and I think that makes it, you know, great for everyone to watch. But from a personal standpoint, I'm only doing this to win championships. So that's whether it's, you know, first points. I don't know where this puts me in the championship, but if it ain't first, then, you know, from a driver standpoint, then I'm, you know, it ain't good enough. Got to be pushing further, and ultimately I'm here to do the best job I can for the team, and, you know, fight as hard as we can in that regard as well. So yeah, I've very much still got my high standards.
I was going to say some very high standards there. Lucas, thank you so much for chatting to us. Your first points on the board. That is something. Let's go again tomorrow. More racing, of course, to come.
Thank you very much to Lucas Blakely and the interview from Claire. We'll see Claire Cottingham back tomorrow as well. What I love about Lucas, he's honest, he's open as a driver, and showing how much...
They're done. Honest and open.
Yeah, no, I jotted that down, so I just come back and... You know, it's been a long day. It's going to be an even longer day tomorrow, and him talking about that massive focus and how it takes it out of each driver. Tomorrow's an even bigger day. 2 races. Oh. We'll be back here at 1200 hours CET, ready to go racing in Spa-Francorchamps, and then we'll have Zandvoort. Just before we say goodbye, driver of the day for you, Matt. Who stood out for you?
For me, Freddie Rasmussen, come on. I know he won the race, but what a bounce back from a terrible event 1 to starting event 2 exactly how we thought might happen in terms of the history books and what he's achieved. So for me, Freddie Rasmussen, for sure.
Okay, what about yourself, JC?
I'm going to go for Danny Beresne. I love the end of that race. It's great to see him back at the front, and good points for the championship. He moves into the top 4. It's going well for him.
Okay, I'm going to say Jake Benham because I got a stat wrong. He's equalled his best ever race result. That is back-to-back podiums now for Jake Benham. He got a 3rd place finish in Jeddah. So listen, there's the 1, 2, 3 of the result today in Silverstone. We'll be back at 1200 hours Central Eastern European time. You do not want to miss it. What a brilliant day. We'll bring up all of the... You're just laughing at
I'm just enjoying how you're closing the show.
Hey,
it's been a good day.
You know what? I'm going to close
been a
that.
great day.
See you in a bit. We'll see you tomorrow.